If you want to reach the heights that few men see, you must be willing to walk the path that most men fear. You must understand that your success is not a collective project. It is a solitary mission, and the greatest enemy of that mission is not your lack of talent or the state of the economy. Your greatest enemy is your inability to say no. If you are hearing these words, it is because your energy has been leaking. You have been giving your time to those who do not value it, your attention to those who distract you, and your soul to those who wish to keep you at their level. But today, the leak stops. Today you enter the law of strategic isolation. You were not sent here to be a people pleaser. You were not placed on this earth to be liked by the masses. You were sent to build, and building requires raw materials that are finite. Your time, your focus, and your vital energy. When you say yes to a casual invitation, you are saying no to your destiny. When you agree to participate in the drama of others, you are disagreeing with the divine instruction within you. The man who cannot say no to everyone else will eventually find that he cannot say yes to himself. He becomes a shadow, a servant of the mediocre, a drifter in a world of architects. Napoleon Hill taught that definiteness of purpose is the first law of success. But what most men miss is that purpose requires a boundary. You cannot have a definite aim if your life is an open field where anyone can wander. You must build a wall. Strategic isolation is not about being bitter or antisocial. It is about being sacred. It is about recognizing that your mind is the only property you truly own, and you must guard it with the intensity of a king guarding his crown. If you are ready to reclaim the boundaries of your mind and time, subscribe to this channel now. This is where we decode Napoleon Hill's most challenging and transformative principles. Because what you are about to learn will make you unpopular. It will make you misunderstood. It will make you lonely before it makes you powerful. But it will make you unstoppable. You live in a battlefield, and the war being waged is for your attention. Every notification is an invasion. Every social media platform is a carefully engineered trap. Every quick question is a theft of your mental energy. Napoleon Hill wrote that the mind is the only thing over which you have absolute control. Yet most people relinquish this control willingly to external influences. The distraction economy is built on one insight. If they can capture your attention, they can control your behavior. Every like is a dopamine hit. Every notification is a hook. Every endless scroll is time stolen from your purpose and transferred to their profit. You have been conditioned to believe that availability equals value. That being responsive equals being professional. That saying yes equals being a good person. This is a lie designed to keep you weak. Hill observed the wealthiest men of his era and noticed a pattern. They all had gatekeepers. They all had barriers between themselves and chaos. They all understood that their thinking time was sacred. Andrew Carnegie had assistants who filtered every request. Henry Ford had a private workspace where interruption was forbidden. Thomas Edison locked himself in his laboratory for days at a time. These were strategic men. They understood that every hour given to distraction was an hour stolen from destiny. You must do the same, because the world will take everything you give it and demand more. If this message is resonating, leave a like on this video. It helps this truth reach those who are ready to build walls instead of bridges. The first law of strategic isolation is this: without boundary, there is no purpose. Napoleon Hill taught that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. But definiteness is impossible without protection. Purpose requires concentration, and concentration requires isolation. Think of a laser. Scattered light illuminates a room. Concentrated light cuts through steel. Your attention works the same way. Scattered across 100 people and projects, it produces nothing of value. Concentrated on a single definite aim, it becomes unstoppable force. Henry Ford would disappear for weeks when developing a new idea. He would not take meetings. He would not respond to correspondence. He would vanish into his workshop and emerge only when the work was done. Thomas Edison's laboratory was his sanctuary. Interruption was not tolerated. Edison knew that every breakthrough came from deep, uninterrupted thought. Most men never experience this because they are too afraid to create the boundary. They are too afraid to say no. They are too afraid to disappoint. But disappointment is inevitable. Either you disappoint others by protecting your purpose, or you disappoint yourself by sacrificing it. The boundary is not negotiable. The wall must be built. The gate must be guarded. And every time you say no to a distraction, you are saying yes to your destiny. The second law of strategic isolation is this: your energy is finite. Once spent, it does not return today. Napoleon Hill understood that energy is the currency of achievement, not time. Energy, every conversation costs energy. Every interaction costs energy. Every decision costs energy. Every act of being nice when you want to say no costs energy. John D. Rockefeller was famous for his ruthless protection of his mental and physical energy. He would not attend social events that did not serve his purpose. He would not engage in small talk. He would not waste energy on people who could not contribute to his definite aim. This made him unpopular. People called him cold. They called him arrogant. But Rockefeller did not care about popularity. He cared about results. Rockefeller would retreat regularly to his private estate, where no one could reach him. During these retreats, he would think, he would plan. He would make the decisions that built Standard Oil into the most powerful company in the world. You must audit every relationship, every obligation, every habit, and ask one question: does this give me energy or drain it? If it drains you, eliminate it. Without hesitation, without guilt, your energy belongs to your purpose first. Comment below where you are watching this video from. I want to see how far this message of energy sovereignty is reaching. The third law of strategic isolation is this: every breakthrough is born in silence. Napoleon Hill discovered that infinite intelligence does not speak in crowds, it speaks in stillness. But you cannot access the subconscious when you are constantly talking, constantly reacting, constantly consuming noise. Isaac Newton developed his theory of gravity during the Great Plague. The university closed. Newton retreated to his family farm in isolation. For 18 months, Newton saw almost no one. And during that silence, he revolutionized mathematics, physics, and astronomy. Silence creates space for insight. Silence allows the subconscious mind to work without interference. Silence permits infinite intelligence to communicate. Albert Einstein spent years working alone in the Swiss patent office, isolated from the academic world, unknown. During those years of isolation, Einstein developed the theories that would change humanity's understanding of reality. Nikola Tesla would lock himself in his laboratory for days, sometimes weeks. From that silence came inventions that powered the modern world. This is the pattern. Silence precedes breakthrough. Always, in silence, you confront yourself. You face your fears. You see your excuses clearly. So men seek noise. They seek distraction. They seek constant stimulation to avoid the discomfort of their own thoughts. But Hill taught that discomfort is where growth lives. Silence is where power is accessed. You must be willing to withdraw completely from the noise of the world and listen to the voice within. This voice waits for silence, and when silence comes, it speaks. And when it speaks, empires are born. The fourth law of strategic isolation is this: if you stay in the crowd, you will vibrate at the crowd's frequency. Napoleon Hill called this hypnotic rhythm. It is the invisible force that makes any pattern permanent through repetition. The crowd has a rhythm, a frequency, a way of thinking, speaking, and behaving. And if you spend enough time in the crowd, you will unconsciously adopt that rhythm. The crowd worries about money, so you will worry about money. The crowd gossips, so you will gossip. The crowd consumes entertainment mindlessly, so you will consume. This is hypnotic rhythm. This is the subconscious mind absorbing and repeating the dominant patterns around it. Isolation is the only way to break the rhythm. Andrew Carnegie would regularly retreat from society to think alone. During these retreats, Carnegie would question every assumption. He would challenge every belief. He would imagine possibilities that the crowd declared impossible. Because he did this in isolation, away from the crowd's limiting rhythm, Carnegie saw opportunities that others could not see. Carnegie's genius was not superior intelligence. It was superior isolation. He removed himself from the crowd's frequency long enough to hear a different rhythm, the rhythm of possibility, the rhythm of infinite intelligence. If you remain in the crowd, you will achieve like the crowd, and the crowd achieves mediocrity. Subscribe to this channel now if you are ready to break free from the crowd's frequency and tune into the rhythm of greatness. The fifth law of strategic isolation is this: who you become is determined by who you are alone. Napoleon Hill taught that identity precedes achievement. You become successful in identity first, and achievement follows. But identity cannot be forged in public. Identity is forged in isolation. When you are alone, when no one is watching, when there is no applause and no judgment, that is when your true character is built. Abraham Lincoln understood this completely. Long before Lincoln became president, he was a country lawyer in Illinois, unknown. But Lincoln had a practice that few knew about. Every day he would spend hours alone, studying law, studying history, studying philosophy. While others socialized, Lincoln isolated. While others sought entertainment, Lincoln studied. This isolated practice went on for decades. And during those decades, Lincoln forged an identity of profound integrity, deep wisdom, and unshakable resolve. When the Civil War came, Lincoln was ready. Not because he had been preparing for that specific moment, but because he had been forging identity in isolation for 30 years. The presidency did not make Lincoln great. Isolation made Lincoln great. The presidency simply revealed what isolation had built. The world only sees the result. It does not see the process. Identity is forged in the unseen, in the silent hours when no one knows your name, in the lonely work that produces no immediate reward. Most men never do this work because they need constant validation. But validation weakens identity, because when you build identity for applause, you build it on unstable ground. True identity is built for an audience of one. Isolation is where you prove to yourself who you are. And once proven, that identity becomes unshakable. The sixth law of strategic isolation is this: every no you speak to distraction is a yes you speak to destiny. You cannot say yes to your purpose when you have already said yes to everyone else's agenda. The strategic no is the most powerful word in your vocabulary. It is the word that protects your definite aim from the 1,000 small invasions that kill dreams. But most men cannot say it. They are too afraid of offending, too afraid of being disliked. And so they say yes when they should say no. They agree to meetings that waste time. They attend events that drain energy. And their dreams die quietly while they are busy being nice. Henry Ford was not nice. Ford was focused. When someone asked for his time, and it did not serve his definite aim, Ford said no without explanation. This made people angry. They called him selfish. But Ford understood something they did not. His time was finite. His energy was limited. And every yes to them was a no to his purpose. Thomas Edison received hundreds of requests for his time. Investors wanting meetings. Journalists wanting interviews. Edison said no to almost all of them. Not because he was arrogant, but because he knew that every hour given to them was an hour stolen from invention. This isolation allowed Edison to produce over 1,000 patents, more than any inventor in history. Not because he was smarter than everyone else, but because he said no more often than everyone else. You must now become comfortable with the strategic no. Comfortable with disappointing people. Comfortable with being misunderstood, because the alternative is disappointing yourself. Every no creates space. Space for deep work. Space for creative thinking. Space for divine inspiration. The strategic no is the doorway to the strategic yes. The yes that builds empires. The seventh law of strategic isolation is this: you cannot emerge until the work is complete. Napoleon Hill observed that premature action destroys more dreams than inaction. Most men emerge from isolation too soon. Nature teaches this principle clearly. A butterfly must remain in the cocoon until metamorphosis is finished. If it emerges too soon, it dies. The same law applies to you. You must remain in strategic isolation until the identity is forged. The plan is crystallized, and the power is consolidated. Andrew Carnegie would disappear for months when he was developing a major strategy. He would not attend social events. He would not respond to business correspondence. He would vanish. And when Carnegie finally emerged, his power was undeniable. His vision was clear. His execution was flawless. Because he had earned his emergence through silence. You must resist the urge to emerge before you are ready. Resist the fear of being forgotten. Resist the loneliness that comes with isolation. Because that loneliness is temporary. But the power you build during isolation is permanent. If this teaching is changing how you see your time and energy, leave a like on this video. Nikola Tesla arrived in America in 1884 with 4 cents in his pocket and a vision that no one understood. While other immigrants sought community, Tesla sought isolation. He rented a small laboratory and locked himself inside. For months at a time, Tesla would see no one. People thought he was insane, but Tesla was listening. Listening to frequencies that the crowd could never hear. During one period of intense isolation, Tesla worked 72 hours without sleep, without food, without human contact. And during that isolation, he invented the alternating current motor that would power the entire modern world. Not because Tesla was born a genius, but because Tesla was willing to disappear into isolation long enough for genius to emerge. Isaac Newton experienced the same during the Great Plague. Cambridge University closed. Newton returned to his family farm. For 18 months, Newton lived in near total isolation. During those 18 months, Newton developed calculus, formulated the laws of motion, discovered the spectrum of light, and conceived the theory of universal gravitation. The plague did not interrupt Newton's education. Isolation completed it. Albert Einstein took a job at the Swiss Patent Office after being rejected by academia. Isolated from the academic world, unknown. For 7 years, Einstein worked in relative isolation. Just Einstein, a pen, paper, and the freedom to think without interruption. During those 7 years, Einstein developed the special theory of relativity, proved the existence of atoms, and explained the photoelectric effect. All from a patent office, all from isolation. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple in 1985. The crowd saw this as the end. But Jobs disappeared. He withdrew from the Silicon Valley social scene. He stopped trying to prove himself. And in that isolation, Jobs created Next Computer and purchased Pixar. When Apple begged Jobs to return in 1997, he came back transformed. The isolated Jobs had become the focused Jobs. The Jobs who would create the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. Isolation did not end Jobs' career. Isolation elevated it to heights no one thought possible. These are not exceptions. These are examples of the law. Strategic isolation precedes breakthrough, always. Comment below where you are watching this from. Enough history. Let us speak about your execution. Welcome to Monk Mode. 90 days of strategic isolation designed to forge identity, crystallize vision, and build unstoppable momentum. For 90 days, you eliminate everything that does not directly serve your definite chief aim. Everything. No social media. No casual socializing. No entertainment. No news. No dating. No alcohol. No mindless consumption of any kind. The first 21 days are the hardest. Your body and mind will resist. You will feel fear of missing out. You will feel lonely. This is normal. This is your old identity defending itself. Wake at the same time every day, preferably before 6 in the morning. Begin with a morning ritual where you affirm your definite aim for 15 minutes. Then enter deep work. 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted focus, physical exercise for 1 hour. Another deep work session in the afternoon. End each day with an evening review where you journal what you accomplished. Read from Napoleon Hill for 30 minutes. Sleep at a consistent time. No exceptions. No negotiations. By day 22, something shifts. The noise in your mind quiets. Clarity emerges. You begin to see your definite aim with crystalline precision. You see obstacles you were blind to before. You see solutions that were invisible in the noise. This is infinite intelligence beginning to communicate. Add a strategic planning session once per week. Add skill development directly related to your aim for 2 hours daily. Add visualization practice for 30 minutes daily. By day 46, you have become a different person. You have built discipline. You have built focus. You have built momentum. Now you build tangible results. Create something related to your aim every day. Write, build, design, sell. Increase deep work to 8 to 10 hours daily if possible. The final 20 days are about consolidation. You have built new identity. You have produced tangible results. Now you integrate. Prepare for emergence. How will you re-enter the world without losing momentum? Finalize your 12-month plan based on insights gained during isolation. By day 90, you are ready to emerge. Not because the time has passed, but because the work is complete. Throughout all 90 days, no social media whatsoever. No news consumption. No casual socializing. No alcohol. No entertainment. If you commit to this protocol for 90 days, your life will not be recognizable. Not because circumstances will magically change, but because identity will shift. Subscribe to this channel now if you are ready to walk in these eternal principles. There are 5 categories of people you will need to say no to during your isolation. First, the energy vampires. These are people who drain your energy without reciprocating. You identify them by how you feel after spending time with them. If you feel exhausted, frustrated, or emotionally drained, they are energy vampires. The strategic no to energy vampires is simple. You are entering a period of intense focus on a personal project. You will not be available for casual contact for 90 days. No explanation beyond that. Second, the dream killers. These are people who respond to your vision with skepticism, criticism, or discouragement. They tell you to be realistic. They remind you of your past failures. The strategic no to dream killers is silence. Stop sharing your vision with them. Stop seeking their approval. Third, the casual acquaintances. These are people you know but do not have deep relationships with. They invite you to events. They ask you to hang out. The strategic no to casual acquaintances is polite but firm. Thank them for the invitation. Decline without explanation. Do not offer alternatives. Fourth, family members who do not understand. These are people who love you, but cannot comprehend your isolation. They see it as rejection. The strategic no to family is compassionate but unwavering. Explain once that you are entering a critical period of focused work. Set a clear end date. Then maintain the boundary without exception. Fifth, your old self. Your old habits will call to you. Your old comforts will tempt you. The strategic no to your old self is immediate and absolute. The moment the thought appears, replace it with your definite aim. You do not owe anyone access to your time. You do not owe anyone justification for your choices. You owe yourself the completion of your assignment. Everything else is secondary. There is a critical distinction you must understand. The distinction between strategic isolation and arrogance. Arrogance says, I am better than you. Isolation says, I am focused on my purpose. Arrogance looks down on others. Isolation looks inward at the work. Arrogance seeks to prove superiority. Isolation seeks to build something valuable. The crowd will accuse you of arrogance when you begin to isolate. They will say, you think you are too good for them. Let them say it. Their accusation reveals their misunderstanding, not your character. Napoleon Hill taught that criticism is the price of achievement. The man who does nothing is never criticized. The man who builds everything is criticized constantly. Arrogant men seek the spotlight. Isolated men seek the silence. Arrogant men need others to witness their greatness. Isolated men build greatness whether anyone is watching or not. If you isolate to prove you are better than others, you are operating from arrogance. If you isolate to become better than you were, you are operating from purpose. Know the difference. Guard your heart. Build in humility, even as you build in silence. By day 90, you will know if the work is complete. Here are the signs that you are ready to emerge from strategic isolation. First, you feel clarity instead of confusion. Your definite aim is crystallized. You see the path forward with precision. Second, you feel peace instead of restlessness. The anxiety that drove you into isolation has dissolved. Third, you have tangible results. You have built something during your isolation, written something, created something. Fourth, your energy has increased. Instead of feeling drained by isolation, you feel energized. Fifth, your identity has shifted. You no longer see yourself as the person who entered isolation. Sixth, you feel no urge to justify yourself. You do not need to explain what you did during isolation. If these 6 signs are present by day 90, you are ready to emerge. You emerge when the work is complete, when identity is forged, when clarity is absolute. And when you emerge, you do not return to the old world. You enter a new one. Because you are no longer the same man who left. The law of strategic isolation is not theory. It is the pattern of every man who ever built anything of lasting significance. You now understand the 7 laws. Purpose requires boundary. Energy is finite and must be guarded. Silence precedes breakthrough. The crowd's rhythm kills genius. Isolation forges identity. Strategic no creates space for divine yes. Emergence must be earned through silence. These are not suggestions. These are laws that govern achievement. The question is not whether these laws work. The question is whether you will obey them. Most men will hear this message and do nothing. Do not be most men. If you are ready to enter your 90 days of strategic isolation, speak these words now. I enter strategic isolation. I guard the gates of my mind. I say no to the world, so I can say yes to my soul. I am not lonely. I am focused. I am not arrogant. I am on assignment. I withdraw to build what the world will see when I emerge. I do not explain. I do not justify. I do not apologize. I am not available for 90 days. And when I return, I will not be the same man who left. Speak this until you believe it. Write it until it becomes law. Live it until it becomes identity. Subscribe to this channel now if you are committed to the path of strategic isolation. Like this video so others who are ready can find it, and comment below where you are watching this from. The command is clear. The protocol is set. The door is closing. What you do in the silence will determine what the world sees in the light. Say no to everyone until your yes carries the weight of a kingdom. The time of the crowd is over. The time of the commander has begun.